This is Playhavock, and I've got
Stupac.
Stupac, you're the diamond guy, yay! Diamonds are forever, sometimes, or something, I don't know. So you know how this game works, and I don't know how this game works, so that's good. You can explain how this game works. I suppose I'd be the super casual, mega casual ascender. If you go beanbag, does that mean what does it mean to you when somebody says casual?
In my mind, I mean, obviously if someone says I did a casual run, they could mean the beanbag type, but usually I assume they mean that they're not really trying very hard. They're not, switching familiars all the time. They don't have all the skills. They're not, casting all their buffs or planning out the run. They're basically just taking it easy for a given run. And, most of my ascensions are pretty casual in that sense. I don't go all out for all of them. And so I think that casual players is almost all players almost all the time. And that a speedrunner is only someone who's doing a thing for, in a very specific run at that given time. Very few people are speedrunners all the time.
There's this kind of divide, or maybe it's an illusionary divide between like Heart and Diamond, where the Hardy player is really focused on the social. Not that a Diamond couldn't or wouldn't be that way, but like when something like this Jick in the Box thread came around, I totally don't understand why people are so upset over this. It's like, here's something, I try to put myself in the shoes of the speedsters, like, well, this thing is optimal every 4 turns, so because of that, I have to use it. Otherwise, there's this thing that I can't use, and therefore I'm not as good as somebody that will use it, or, I'm not really sure if I'm even getting it right, but I was just like, who cares? It's just a game. Get over it.
You're pretty close. I'm not like this, but there are a certain number of speed players who get their enjoyment out of playing the game by playing it in the most optimal sense possible. And to them, the Jack in the Box is something that they just have to use. And so, but the problem is that it's a little bit of a pain in the ass to use, and this varies depending on who you ask. I know some people who don't find it to be that big of a deal. I don't use it at all. Because I just do not want to. But the other thing is that very few people think of it as something that's really a big problem with the game. I think the reason that it kind of exploded in that thread is because it just became like, well, for one, like Jick asked about it, and but
yeah, and then whenever you've got the developer basically interacting with the community, you're going to have a big thread about it.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So with this, and now the new thing is this fax machine monsters. So basically, you can have any monster in the game, in theory, in a fax, but only you can only get one a day. So it's like everyone's trying to figure out what's the best one to use and when, and what happens if somebody photocopies Jick's butt or something, which would be awesome. I think that'd be hilarious to see that in the fax bot network.
Yeah, working on it.
Yeah. Is there another one of this kind of sort of, before this existed, obviously nobody thought about it, but now that it exists, is there this sense of entitlement of, I have to get that, ASCII monster in order to be optimal? Is there that sort of feeling of, I have to do this or this game is not enjoyable kind of thing?
Yeah, I wouldn't really call it an entitlement. It definitely does exist there. But I think that most people's problem with the fax machine was that it was kind of a pain to use before FaxBot. But now that so I was a big part of it, as was Weus and Saltacid and Royal Tomberry, a few other guys. We made the bot that just, you type in a command and it delivers a monster right into your client's fax machine. Before that, the fax machine would have been a real pain in the ass to use in run.
Yeah, because you would have to have like 20 clans to go into, okay, this clan has, that ASCII monster in its fax or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But now it's not that big of a deal, and people can more focus on actually using it. And the thing is, the mechanic itself is actually pretty cool. in terms of the power and how many, and it opens up a lot of potentially interesting decisions, and it's really limited with only one per day, so you just cannot use it as much as you'd want to.
Plus, it seems that this really makes the VIP key more optimal than it's ever been.
Yeah, this is definitely the most powerful piece of VIP furniture. More powerful than either of the items of the month in there.
Yeah, they're going to have to re-release that so that other players can get into that. Are you afraid of power creep? Because I think that that's one issue that's been brought up from time to time. That seems like we touch on it, whenever we get something like Sandworm would be a good example, or if the Haiku Katana would be a better one, I'm not sure, but it seems like every now and then we get this power creep. This item duplicates this other item, but it's far better or different or whatever. So you think power creep is going to kill the game, or do you think that they've got that under control?
I mean, it kind of depends. I think the real worry with power creep is more that if you introduce a lot of mechanics that all work together, then it can be a problem. Like the Naval Rain and the Great American Pants. Like those two largely do the same thing that you care about in terms of the runaways, but the pants are, have those once per day, or those, 5 times per day buff, whatever it is. And so adding in those buffs is like, it's basically accomplishing the same thing as the Naval Rain, but now you have all these other things that you have to remember to use per day. And I think that that's where people start to get a little bit worried, is if power creep is accomplished in this way, where it adds more things to do in a run in a given day, adds to the weight of the speed game, and eventually there's a weight that, you can no longer carry it around.
I can't play this game. I quit because I missed this thing. And I'm like, dude, it's a game. Who cares? Just, have fun. Stop taking it so seriously. It's not life and death. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's just, it almost seems to me that at times, once you get into that mentality of, I must be fast, I don't know, is it awfully hard? Well, maybe not for you, but maybe for others, to get out of that mentality and just enjoy it for the sake of it's a game, who cares, play it on your coffee break,
Well, I think part of the problem is that the way that people approach games tends to be very different. So, for someone like you, just kind of doing whatever in the game might be exactly what you want. But for someone like Darth Dud, he wants to, beat the game as best he can. And he wants to go as fast as possible, and if he's not doing that, then it's not fun to him. So, to some extent, saying, it's just a game, have fun with it, to someone like Darth kind of doesn't really make any sense. Because
it's like I am having fun with it by being super fast.
Exactly. But
yeah.
if the things that you have to do to get super fast, are basically like sticking a fork in your thigh, then you're not really going to do it.
Like, man, I hate sticking this fork. They should do that as an item, like fork in the thigh, and you have to like click on it, and I don't know, makes a fork in your thigh.
Somebody had made a joke about the item of the month being mauled by a bear, where you buy it and then you're just mauled by a bear in real life, which I think that would be hard to program.
That'd be pretty hard. It's like, where did they live again? They get the Google satellite going, send bear to location, knock knock, who's at the door? Ah! Or it would just be like a $5,000 donation, Mr. A item, kicks you in the balls, takes up to 2 weeks to deliver, and you're like, what's this? And you buy it, and you're like, I don't know what this item is. Everyone's trying to figure it out. Like, you get a knock on the door, I'm like, well, I was the first one to buy it. Oh, hey, it's Chick. Hey, how's it going? Oh, he kicked me in the balls. Why? Why did you do that? Well, that's what the item is. See ya. He gets back in his helicopter and takes off. And you're like,
Jick does have a helicopter.
He does. He has it's called the Jick Copper. Jick Copper. It's an item. I don't know what it is. But it would be 5,000, it'd definitely be, I suppose if enough people paid 5,000, he could afford a helicopter. He could afford flying places to kick people in the balls. But then if a girl player, then you'd have that whole problem. If a girl buys it, then he's like, well, what am I supposed to do now?
Well,
Maybe
it's
he's
because
just
Jick's afraid of women, so he
oh,
couldn't. He
he'd send Scully to kick her in the knees or something. I don't know. Like, maybe it would just be like, this can only be bought by male players. This whole Crimbo seemed like we actually got through it without anyone complaining specifically about the content, other than trying to figure out how to do the fax machine. Nobody, like, really hampered on that this sucks or anything. I'm really glad, because I really wanted, to avoid the Scully rant. So I'm really proud of our community for not, whining and complaining about this stuff. And who would? Because he got to give away presents to people. I think that really helped. Although there was that thread like, man, I wish I could buy it for myself because whoever I got's not giving me the stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of the unfortunate problem there.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I suppose only a couple people had that problem. I do wonder if they'll release who it was or if it will just stay secret. Because otherwise, it wouldn't be a Secret Santa thing if it wasn't secret. I don't know, something.
yep.
So, what's a question we can steal from some other show? Quick, steal a question from somebody.
Me? I don't know. I don't have a list of questions from your shows.
No, well, yeah, steal a question from my own show. Yes, that's how to do it. Where the bleep is my own show? It's buried. Deep Crimbo has ruined me. I can't find any of my posts.
Well, I suppose I could look up a Diamond Radio program question. It's been a while since I've opened that.
Find all threads started by me. Wow, I have no life. Look at all these threads started by me. Cat will land on feet always. Yes, that's the question now. Will cat land on feet always?
No, if you put a piece of buttered toast on the top of the cat.
Well, no, I had two cats glued to each other so that their feet, would always be sticking out, so that, whatever.
That would do it too.
Yeah. And then I stuck the two cats' feet together so that neither cat could ever land on its feet at all.
The cats must really like you.
Yeah, well, I didn't do it for real. I did it, the stick figure cats.
Ah.
But I'm going to buy real cats and super glue, and soon I'll Mythbusters this. There's Playhavock 4. That's not the current one. Whatever. I'll ask a question from there anyways. Oh yeah, this one that I never finished answering. Spreadsheets or colored pencils or crayons? Oh no, I asked that one like a lot. I kept hampering on that. That one was the one that talked about dogs, and I hate dogs! Dogs must die! Ah!
Why do you hate dogs?
Because they're always like, I have like every one of my neighbors, like all of them, I swear, has a dog. And anytime I go outside, it's like, woof, 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 woof. And it's just like, they're domesticated. They don't need to bark anymore. There's no reason for this. And one will start barking, and the other one, and it's just, they'll never shut up.
Dogs are allowed. This one is from Turtle Pooey 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 Pooey, who says, Jick just mentioned in the radio the possibility of a mist sign adding a fourth accessory slot. Implications? What do you think about that, Playhavock?
You could equip more stuff, and more stuff is good. Like, you could equip multiple things, and like farm more. You could have two thingies, and green stuff would pour out, and the mist of the green would swallow the monsters like in Dawn Treader. That's the answer to that question. Somehow.
What is Dawn Treader?
The Narnia Dawn Treader movie. They added.
Oh.
It's not too much of a spoiler, but there's green mist that shows up and it eats people, and that's not at all in the original book. Like not even close. And they added it in, I suppose, so that they would have like a plot to tie the movie together, even though, in my opinion, it doesn't need that. But yeah, so green mist is the answer for things now that I don't understand. Okay, Aston on the forum says, wait, who was he?
Who is who?
No, that's his question. Wait, who was he?
Who was he?
So, yes, who was he? Answer the question. Don't avoid that question. You're supposed to know how to answer everything because you understand this game. Who was he? Who was he? Answer the question, Stupac2. Answer it.
I'm saying he's the hermit. Final answer.
He's the hermit. Yay! He's the hermit. Yes, the hermit is optimal. You've all heard it here. All right. Well, that's all the time that we have with Stupac2 because he has real life or something. I don't know what he does. He's optimal. So K-mail him because he likes it. He collects optimal. I don't know what they should make like an optimal prime item. All your optimal stuff, and I collect my flares. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.